I spent 4 years in a warehouse putting in the work, making sure that my results speaks for itself, and yet not get the promotion that I want. And of course, dealing with a new manager, new management, who was pretty much a pain in the neck, and not seeing the results that I wanted from that place, even though I was putting in the overtime work and I was putting in the daily toil and graft into that work, yet I still didn't get the promotion that I wanted. But yet, here's the thing that separated me from everybody, to the point where I had built my physique to the point where it showed discipline and it showed character. Yet I still did not get the promotion that I wanted. But yet, here's the thing, even though I was showing these discipline and these routines in taking care of myself, sometimes it doesn't always mean that it will transition into a promotion. Now, this can be for many reasons. Now, for my reasons, of course, it was because the manager, the new manager that came in, she was a little bit of a pain in the neck. But yet, of course, what could I do? I could only just go through it and toil through it. So, even though she saw the work that I put in, day out, she just didn't like me. And to be quite frank with you, I didn't really like her at the same time. Now, the previous manager that was there, though, he was a cool guy, and I actually liked him. But of course, he had to move site because obviously he was married, he had a young child, and where he went to was more closer to home versus the warehouse that we were working in. It was a bit more far off distance from home, which of course I understand that. But when she came in now, it just turned everything upside down, just making everything difficult and just putting in new things just so that she can get rid of people and bring in her own people. Why am I saying all of this? I'm simply saying you can do everything right, having the standards for yourself, building the physique that you want, but yet still not get the promotion in in a job. And I'm here to tell you that should not be used as an excuse to not have discipline, because that same discipline that you put into the gym is the same discipline that you can put into building your life outside of that workplace if you choose to leave or stay. So, sometimes it can be for many reasons. The reasons could be maybe because you fit the standard and they don't fit the standard, maybe because out of workplace politics, sometimes it can be out of people just not liking you, sometimes it can be out of survival modes simply because we live in a country where people are working and overwhelmed on a day-to-day basis. That too has a lot of factors, but I'm here to tell you that that of course should not be used as an excuse to continue pushing and moving forward. Now, you're most probably thinking to yourself, oh, I'm consistent. You're putting in the work, you're putting in the overtime, and yet you're even going an extra mile, not taking breaks, and just keep pushing forward. That right there is a discipline itself. But sometimes it doesn't always work that way, simply because of maybe you're coming across different characters who are very much complex. Now, see, for other guys, sometimes other guys who are not strong enough, sometimes it will be a situation where your physical presence may take a toll to the point where your insulin levels increases to the point where you're grabbing just any food to just think about, to just forget about the problems you may have at work or may have outside of work. And this is where the cortisol level creeps in, and even the insulin levels creeps in sometimes. You may sometimes people some people who are not strong enough fall into these traps. And what happens when they fall into these traps? They start grabbing every food that's around them. Now, don't get me wrong, it can be based off of a person's diet, it can be based off a person's energy levels, it can be off a person's body type. Now, all these factors do play a part. However, if you know that is the case, simply just look at the kind of foods that you may be eating. Look at what you are eating each and every day. What foods are you getting every day? Sometimes this is how depression creeps in, to the point where we're grabbing takeaway meals, we're grabbing milkshakes, we're grabbing like even cokes, and all of these things is just going to spike your insulin level to the point where it's going to be stored for energy, and later on you get tired. And this happens so many times to people who work in these kind of jobs, especially the type of job that I used to working in a warehouse, because you're lifting boxes every day, and sometimes you get exhausted, sometimes you're even sleeping at the back of the warehouse once you take your break. I've done it, I've seen other workers do it as well, and this plays a lot into a person's insulin levels and cortisol levels, which is why it's mainly important to pack your own lunch and to cook your own meal at home and bring it to work. Not only is it going to save you money, but of course you know exactly what's in that food, and you know what you're putting into the food, etc. Here is what your physique shows that your job does not tell you. Consistency, yes. Consistency to the point where you're showing up each and every day and you are putting in the hard work that nobody wants to put in. The discipline, yes. What do I mean by the discipline? The discipline meaning you are still doing the work even though you don't want to do it. Maybe you're taking on more of the hard labor job simply because people see you as the strongest. And this is another thing too. As soon as workers know that you're a regular gym goer and you do personal training on the side, automatically they're the ones thinking that, oh, he's good for the job. But yet sometimes, a lot of the time, they don't want to do the hard job themselves. But of course, you still do the job, etc., simply because you just want to keep the peace and save face. But of course, you still have that discipline to do the job even though you don't want to do it. Self-respect. Your physique shows self-respect in many ways that people are not going to tell you. It shows that you hold yourself to a high regard. It shows that you have the discipline. It shows that you have the know-how on how to build that physique and maintain that physique. Something that some of themselves don't know about. And once they see that in you, they think to themselves, oh no, we can't deal with that kind of thing. He's probably a little bit too much, or he's not our fit, so to say, quote unquote. And all of these factors play a huge part, especially for people who are working in jobs where they're not seeing the results in trying to get a promotion. You may be that guy. Maybe you're working on a building site, or maybe you're doing a trade, or maybe you have a business that you're building, and yet nobody takes you serious because you're not in that authority role. But yet at the same time, they don't know what you don't know. And maybe because they see your value, they're thinking, oh, that's a bit too much, because sometimes they don't have the values themselves. And it all goes back to what relatives have said to me. Even my uncle has said to me, you can't give what you don't have. That's the reality, unfortunately, when you're dealing with people. And once they see that you have it and you can give it at the same time, everybody backs off, because they know you hold the standards, but they themselves can't hold the standards. So what do? They block you from moving forward so that they can move forward and move forward with that same maybe small mindset that they have. Not everybody has a small mindset, but just some people who find it distasteful that you have those standards. It's just people for you. Don't look at me, I didn't make them. That's just how people are at the end of the day. And I say all this to say that just because you have the physique doesn't mean you'll get the promotion. The system is not built that way. The system is built off of people who do the less work versus people who do more of the work. That's just life, unfortunately. But for you who is building the physique and is holding the standards, you still keep pushing forward regardless, because somebody out there is looking at that and somebody out there is going to respect that. So just keep pushing forward, move forward. And this is what I want to tell you about my personal story today. Please, thank you for watching today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and please, whatever you do, turn on the notification bell. That way you can help the YouTube algorithm. Hit that like button. Get this video out here. That's the only way this YouTube channel can grow and my video can grow. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.